Hey guys, it's Hunter. Welcome back to a late AskGufish. We skipped a week. Since last episode, we covered the Dean Cadillac. What a wacky shape. Really surprised by how much I didn't hate it. Full video on the Angle Savage. Finally, the Apollo spacecraft of amps. It's so complicated. Love that amp though. Unboxed a few new guitars with Pringles, some of them pink and single cutty, and the latest AskGufish featuring my 2006 Epiphone G400 Custom, a guitar that means a lot to me. Basically, seeing how it's held up over 15 years and doing a couple upgrades. Links to all those in the description if you haven't seen them yet. But in the meantime, you guys had questions on Discord. Let's jump right into them. Chuck, Maple Fingerboard Master, asks, what do you think about the new Gibson Les Paul Deluxe reissues? Bro, okay, so I got so excited for 70s inspired additions to Gibson's original collection. Like the 50s and 60s Les Pauls, of course, they're legendary status, but there's something special about 70s Les Pauls. They're so unique in the storied history of Gibson guitars. There's all these little differences, and they've just got a vibe to them that you don't get with Les Pauls from any other era. And the Northlane era was infamous for pretty sus QC. Since it seems like modern day Gibson has gotten its act together on that front, I was excited to see what they'd bring back from that period, but improved upon with modern quality and production standards. And for context, that's my favorite era. Like the only two Gibsons I own are both 70s Les Pauls. They're both rescues, not even close to fully original, but in terms of build specs, I just like them so much better than 50s or 60s styles. The necks are perfect. They're thin, but not like Ibanez. They're almost like ESP's Thin U, so they still have a comfortable roundness to them. They have volutes. A lot of the necks were made of maple rather than mahogany. The pancake body, who knows why they did this, but they had two slabs of mahogany sandwiching a thin layer of maple with a maple cap. Was it for tone? Was it to make them heavier? Was it because they were having a hard time finding thick slabs of mahogany? Who knows? But it contributes to the vibe. And so I gotta be honest, I got so hyped when I saw they were adding 70s Deluxes, but I don't know about these. So the new 2021 original collection 70s Deluxe comes in two colors, gold top and 70s cherry sunburst. Both go for $24.99 US. And the colors are cool. They're classics. Mahogany bodies with maple caps, but then wait a second, mahogany necks?
What?
When you dive into the spec sheet, these are missing like basically all the build specs that differentiate 70s Les Pauls from the other eras. All the stuff that makes them special. The neck isn't thin, it's a big rounded profile. No pancake body. Okay, that's fine. Apparently it was really expensive, time consuming to do. But no volute either. I mean, that is a signature characteristic of 70s Les Pauls. I mean, dude, even the little things, they don't even have the brown control cavity covers Deluxes came with in the 70s. If I were to guess, maybe they thought, hey, the 50s Les Pauls, those are the golden era guitars, right? Let's combine that vibe, those build specs, that feel with the finishes and mini humbucker configuration from the 70s Deluxes, and you've got a great amalgamation of highly desirable features. So it's a bummer for us fans of 70s Northlane era style guitars, but I get it. Northlane fans are a rarer breed. There are far more fans of 50 style Les Pauls that just want that, but with mini humbuckers. I think in that case, these make more sense in the modern collection, as the original collection, per my understanding, was supposed to be faithful reincarnations of the models they were inspired by, but I don't know, c'est la vie. It's kind of weird. Like, I don't think even if it was completely faithful to the original, I'd be in the market for a 70s Deluxe. And yet, I'm still disappointed because even Gibson, the company that birthed these guitars in the 70s, are treating them like the ugly stepchild. Northlane's just can't get any respect. It's funny, every time I talk about Gibson and their new releases, I feel like I'm a bit overly critical. Listen, for whatever reason, I'm just emotionally invested. I love Les Pauls, and was just excited for more people to experience the magic of the 70s version, which is often so underappreciated. That's putting it lightly. People on Northlanes all the time. And what they've done is, it looks like a 70s Les Paul at first glance, but it's really more of a 50s reskin with mini humbuckers. And that's still cool. It's just not a 70s Les Paul. I'm starting to sound a bit like old man yelling at cloud. Like, why did they change them? What was wrong with the old ones? But honestly, if you're in the market for a non-70s Les Paul Deluxe, check out the 2018 Player Plus. Basically the same specs, rounded neck, mini humbuckers, but comes in a satin finish, cryo-treated frets, and a rich light board, which to me feels basically indistinguishable to ebony. The satin finish feels super quick. Kinda mad I didn't pick one up. There was one on sale in ocean blue at my local guitar center, and it was great, just didn't have the cash at the time. Also comes in wine red, vintage sunburst, all with proper flame maple tops. They look so good. Unless you absolutely need that gloss gold top, or what was the other one, Vintage Cherry Sunburst. Check those out. Really hoping those get a reissue in the modern collection at some point because they are sick. But yeah, that's just my opinion as a fan of 70s Les Pauls. These just really aren't for me. What about you? What do you think of the 70s Deluxe reissues? Randy asks, thoughts on the Acoustasonic Jazzmaster? Late, I know. Oh, did Fender release a new model or something? I hadn't noticed. Pretty funny, on that day, everybody was releasing Acoustasonic Jazzmaster videos. Meanwhile, we're out here with like a Dean Cadillac, the complete polar opposite. Not gonna lie though, if Fender offered to send me one, I definitely would be making a video on it too. Probably like a week later after everyone else though. So yeah, we do things differently. But also, in this particular case, I think they look really cool, and I always like joining in on launch fun. I mean, when like the 15th video that day pops up, it's like, okay, I get it. Kind of annoying I don't get diversity of content for that day because everyone's covering the same thing. But at the same time, I like to see everyone's reaction. Given the same piece of gear, all the different things that all these different personalities create with it. And I also like how it's a celebration of like, hey, Fender did a cool new thing. And it is cool. I think at this point, I probably don't have to go over the specs with most of you, but basically, if you somehow missed the avalanche of content, Fender's added a Jazzmaster variation to their Acoustasonic line. So it's like a thin acoustic with 3 pickups, a piezo, a Fender Shawbucker, and a Fishman body sensor acoustic pickup. And the last one is really cool if you're using the guitar in a more percussive way. And you can mix, match, blend. There are multiple voices too to make it sound like a short scale, dreadnought, whatever. The idea behind the Acoustasonics is that these are the ultimate acoustic gig guitars. Bring it along, plug it into an amp or a PA, and you can make it sound like whatever you need it to. Made in the US and priced at $1,999. Comes in 5 colors. Ocean Turquoise, which was like the YouTuber color of choice. And to be fair, it is the coolest one. Natural Arctic White, Tobacco Sunburst, and Tungsten. I love the design of it with the natural sides, back, and top bevel, and the headstock too with the stamped logo. The Jazzmaster is such a wacky shape, I love it. And I think it looks the most natural in the Acoustasonic line. So definitely wouldn't do it on the same day as everyone else, but I'd still love to play one, see what I could write with something like that. Didn't even know it was coming out, found out like the rest of you. Guess Fender assumed, and quite rightly, that this is not exactly the best channel to showcase an acoustic Jazzmaster. The better fit would definitely be the Polar White Jim Root Jazzmaster, still waiting to hear back from them on that. And I think next year, pandemic permitting, we'll probably see a Made in Mexico Acoustasonic. They've obviously been a major hit for Fender. Would love to see a more affordable version that's accessible to more players. But yeah, content tsunami aside, what do you think of the Acoustasonic Jazzmaster? Would you rock it? Do you want to try one? Yeah? No? And what shape should Fender add to the Acoustasonic line next? We'd love to know what you're thinking in the comments. Before we get into the next question, huge shout out to Zorku, Aravar, and the rest of the amazing patrons. You guys are awesome, making this and all the other content possible. You can join the Patreon community to support as well, get MP3s and tabs to all the demo tracks, or if you're enjoying the content and haven't subscribed or hit the notification bell yet, you can do that, helps out the channel. Thank you in advance, and let's jump into the next question. What bands are you looking forward to seeing post-COVID? I don't know, dude, like all of them. We missed a whole year of live shows. Like, think about how crazy that is. And personally, I plan on making up for lost time and supporting as many artists as I can because it has been a tough year for live music. But specifically, I think Alter Bridge and The Who, the Mongolian throat singing one, not the British one, they're both rescheduling dates that were supposed to come to Atlanta like a week before the lockdown started. And I was so looking forward to seeing them. So if they're actually coming back here, those two are definitely on the list. And if Haylung ever makes it back to the US, I'm definitely going to the nearest show. If you haven't heard of Haylung, they're a folk music band and self-describe their performances as amplified history from early medieval Northern Europe. Their music was like in the series finale of Vikings, so think that kind of vibe, and from the YouTube videos, it just looks nuts. There's throat singing, instruments made of real bones. One dude, his entire job is just to beat the living out of this giant drum in the background. It's the most metal, non-metal thing I've heard in my life. If they are anywhere within like a 12-hour driving distance, I'm definitely going. Lamb of God and Trivium, fingers crossed. They've got a show scheduled like the week before my birthday here in Atlanta. Somehow managed to have never seen Lamb of God live yet. Metallica, Lamb of God, 2 of my top 3 favorite bands of all time. Haven't seen either of them. And Trivium is sick live, so yeah, I'm going to that. I think I took live shows for granted. Like, I had all the time in the world to see my favorite bands. But this year, nah, f that. Fingers crossed, everything works out. I'm going to whatever I can. But yeah, man, I'm just excited for live music. I miss it. What about you guys? What bands, what shows are you looking forward to after this whole mess? I Need an Interface asks, what do you think about the blood splatter finishes on ESP guitars, especially the one on the ESP configurator tool? You think this is cool? That sounds like a loaded question. I feel like you want me to say it's not cool and it's cheesy. I mean, it's not what I personally get, but I don't mind it actually. It's very thrash metal. I like any finishes that are unpredictable and unique. Like if we both got a blood spatter guitar, the pattern would be similar, but different. Basically what I'm saying is I wouldn't do the whole blood thing if I'm dropping 5 grand on a guitar, but I do love the spatter pattern. Spatter pattern. So like, did you see the one that they revealed at this year's ESP Presents event? It's black with a metallic gold spatter. That's awesome. That is so hot. So if I was in the market for an ESP USA Eclipse, I think I'd go for a metallic spatter, but see if they could do it in a different color, maybe purple. They have another Eclipse, an ESP Original in purple peel, like that shade of purple, but a spatter finish. That would be my dream ESP USA guitar. You know what, actually, I was taking a closer look at the ESP blood spatter. There might be something off with it. Like, I'll be honest, I hate blood and needles and all that. I know, that's like the least metal thing anybody's ever said, ever, but we move. But anyway, so I'm looking at it, and it doesn't really look like blood. Maybe the color's off and it looks kind of cartoony, and it doesn't make me just straight up uncomfortable like Michael Emmett's Dean Tyrant X does. I hate it. But yeah, as far as the ESP goes, if you think it's cool, screw my opinion. Who cares what anybody else thinks? And what say you on blood spatter finishes? Yay or nay? I'm gonna skip the high praise of the week this time because good vibes only. So let's move right into music recommendation, and oh my god, this year is amazing for metal releases. New Era, new While She Sleeps both dropped this week. Era riffs are insane. I'm just gonna leave it at that. My favorite single release this week, though, is the new Northlane song, Clockwork. It is so, so good. The synth usage is just chef's kiss. Australian metalcore? Are they even metalcore? Australian metal just hits different. I'll leave a link in the cards. Definitely check it out. And that'll do it for this week's episode of Askgufish. If you enjoyed it, do me a favor, hit the like button. Leave your thoughts on anything discussed in the comments. Of course, if you want your questions answered, be sure to join our Discord server. Social media, merch, all the links to the gear that I use to make these videos are in the description. As always, thanks so much for watching. You've been awesome, and I'll see you for the next video.